Hey guys, and welcome to Hunsickers on the Road. Today's episode, we're going to talk about Wisconsin, our first 5 months, and what we did and all the adventures that we had exploring the first half of Wisconsin. Why are you making fun of me?
So if that's something you think you'd be interested in, stay tuned.
And we're back.
And we actually didn't go anywhere.
So,
Still here,
still here.
doing nothing.
So this is Hunsickers on the Road. This is our first episode. We're Becky
Hi,
and David,
I'm Becky.
and we have kids.
Ice cream.
I don't really want to talk about them.
We don't actually have kids.
But so what our adventure is we sold all of our stuff in our home and our vehicles, and we moved into a 31-foot camper that gets pulled by a diesel truck. And this young lady here travel nurses, and I stayed home with the kids, and we do some fun stuff. Cool story, bro.
It's real great.
So when we first started off on our little adventure, the first day that we ended up hitting a deer on our way to our first campground. Didn't do much damage to the truck. And then we went to our first campground at like 7 o'clock at night. And they let us in. They moved some logs because they had logs blocking the place because of COVID.
They let us fill up with water.
They let us fill up with water. We parked. We were just about to unhook. And then they came out and said, "We're not comfortable with you staying here. The parks are supposed to be closed. You can't stay here." So, our first night,
Super cool.
we ended up staying at the fire department parking lot where I used to work. And that was our very first night and then the following day we ended up in Neilsville at the Riviera, which was a wonderful place. They have set the bar very high as far as hospitality and friendship and just all around goodness. The food, both Becky and I probably gained
Probably 15 pounds.
60 for me, 70. I mean, I was super skinny when we started, but the food there was so good. We ate there probably more than we ate in the camper. It was wonderful.
Isabel and Freya had birthdays the first month we were in the camper, and I kind of freaked out because I thought, oh, I'm gonna make them a birthday cake, and then I realized I can't make a cake. I don't know how this oven works. So they just got like brownies. The girls, the girls had those store-bought cakes.
Decorated, yep.
Yeah, the ones that like are frozen and then you take it out
For their birthdays,
So they put some.
and then Isabel decorated it with Little Debbie brownie snack
Oh,
cakes.
that's what it was.
And everything else, and it was so rich. And the girls are only 4 days apart, so
Their
we ended up
birthdays
eating
are 4 days
half of a cake one day, and then we saved it, and then 4 days later we ate the other half of the cake.
Right. Freya got the leftover birthday cake. Super cool. So yeah, going back to the Riviera, we were able to get into that site on time or early? On time?
A few days early, actually.
Yeah,
he let us in a few days early.
Yeah, because we told him, that the other site kicked us out and we couldn't stay there, and we asked him, about the closing, and they were a private site. They had a little bit more
leeway as to let us
and
in.
it was April in Wisconsin. There was nobody camping there anyway, so we were the only ones, and it was isolating in and of itself. So I think that's also why we were able to stay there.
I really liked it when it was just us. It
Note
was
to
cool
self:
to have the place all to ourselves.
when you stay in a campground that has a restaurant, you're gonna eat more pizza.
And when you make friends with the
Poppers,
people in the restaurant
beer.
as well, you're going to hang out there more as well
Lots
too.
of beer.
Lots more campfires.
So that was great. It was a wonderful experience. The people were very, very awesome.
Wide open space for the kids to play. Lots of space for them to run around.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Lots of lakes nearby. Lake Arbutus, Lake Dexter, Lake Wazee.
Mm-hmm.
We went to all of those lakes multiple times to swim and to hang out on the beach.
And it's interesting because Dave and I are both from Wisconsin, born and raised. Well, mostly. Dave's been
Out and about a little bit. Yeah.
mostly in Wisconsin. So I didn't even know of those places. And I've been in, had been in Wisconsin for a long time.
Yeah, so we explored like the western half of Wisconsin a lot. We saw a lot of...
Yeah, southwest. South. And then west. Southwest.
We explored parts of Wisconsin that we've never been to before. We saw Levis Mounds, which was fun. We went there, I don't know.
A lot.
Out of the 5 months, we were there probably 40 times.
Mm-hmm.
And Wildcat Mounds, we were there at least 20 times, climbing the mountains.
I think it's
was
important
amazing.
to
It was
say.
beautiful.
I think it's important to say that when you start traveling, or at least for me personally, and I think that's how Dave feels too, because everything is new. I mean, we had just moved into our camper in April of 2020, and that was new to us. My job was new, the environment was new. So when you find something that you really enjoy doing, like Levis Mounds,
You end up going
you just
back
really
a lot.
gravitate
Yep.
to that because that's the normal for you. Like you gravitate to a normal, I think anyway.
Come on, give me a happy to be outside.
Dad, I think this is a haunted forest.
Mib, I love your outdoor gear. It's so outdoorsy.
And that was very comforting to us. Our kids enjoyed going there, going back there. They would ask to go there. So it's interesting to see that in this lifestyle of constantly moving and changing, that the things that you can find that are constant, you kind of grasp onto.
And every place is different.
Right, and you have that in every place that you go.
Yeah, you always find your little thing that you always go to, and a lot of us, for us, as a plane goes by.
It's just a jet. Calm down.
So for us, a lot of times it was being outside and hiking, or wherever we do our walks. It's kind of like our routine, our thing to get out of the camper and to do something. And we did that a lot, even in places where it wasn't like a beautiful place to be, but it was just outside. And being in a camper, you kind of learn that you enjoy being outside, whether it's beautiful, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether it's cold, whether it's windy. It's nice to be outside. And so you go on a cloudy day, you don't wait for the perfect day, you just go, because it's good to be out of this space because it's so small with 5 people. So Wisconsin, when we first started, was extremely cold. We weren't planning really on our first place to be in Wisconsin, but because of COVID, we ended up staying in Wisconsin for 5 months. And so we were in a camper in April in Wisconsin, which means snow and -20 still sometimes, in a camper. So that was pretty interesting. Luckily, we bought a camper that has, it was called the Fire and Ice package or something, where the pipes and things won't freeze because everything is insulated. So we were able to run the camper. We had to go get buckets from the main building at the Riviera and fill them up because the pipes weren't, the well wasn't running yet. So when we needed water, we actually had to fill up with buckets of water that we walked across the parking lot, which was kind of far, but it was actually pretty cool. It was a neat experience. And then we filled up our tanks here to run water, and we ended up taking showers in the
Yeah.
one of the cabins for a while until it warmed up, and then when we got our regular water, then we were able to do that.
But I always say with our kids that I wish that we lived in the country and they could haul wood or bale hay or something, because there aren't really meaningful chores like that to do. And when we first started in Wisconsin, they had to haul water with buckets
Every day. Yep. Every day.
So it's good for them. And I needed water to wash my hair.
And by the end of April, the snow started to go away. We were actually able to get out of the camper, I think after 3 weeks? It was like 3 weeks where we were kind of like just stuck inside the camper with snow. And then we started to venture out more once everything started to melt. That's when we started to go to Levis. That's when we started to go to
Wildcat.
That's when we started to go to Lake Arbutus a lot. We off and on in those 5 months, we left the Riviera and we stayed at like Lake Dexter for a week, and then we would come back. And then at the end, our last month, we spent 2 weeks at Lake Arbutus, 2 weeks at Dexter, before we left to go to New Mexico. But while we were at the Riviera, we sold our 1969 camper that we had revamped and rebuilt a little bit. It wasn't completely finished, but a friend of ours bought it off of us. That was one of the last things besides our minivan that we had that we sold.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it for our possessions. Everything else was in a couple of steamer trunks stored away. Otherwise, everything that we own is on this thing here. And we had the comfort of being in Wisconsin still, so it was a little different than running away to a different state far, far away. We were able to still go see both sets of parents, which we did on occasion, visit with them. We stayed up at my parents' place twice with this camper outside before we left. So we were kind of zipping around back and forth, still pretending like we lived back in Wausau, where we're originally from. But then it was a slow separation instead of a cutting off, which I think was kind of nice, because when we finally got to our first place, it wasn't as much of a shock of what we had.
Right. So, as Dave mentioned earlier, we didn't plan to stay in Wisconsin. We thought we would go somewhere else, but because of COVID and because of the job opportunities, we stayed in southern Wisconsin for the first 5 months. And going back and forth to our parents, as Dave mentioned, we stayed at his parents a couple times. They were good dry runs. It was good practice for setting up and taking down and hooking up the truck. And we've repacked things and
we still
changed the way that we do things all the time, because you always find better ways to do it, or you realize that you didn't need this but we need this instead, and you change things around. When we stayed at Lake Dexter and Lake Arbutus, we had electric but we didn't have sewer, so Dave found this, what do I call it?
Porta tank.
I call it the poop wagon, because it's like a wagon. It has a handle, but you empty your waste into that, and then you take it to wherever the dump site is at the campsite that you're staying at. So you hook it up to the hitch on the truck,
yep,
and then you haul it out. So, and it wasn't, I'm gonna say it wasn't as bad, but I never did it. Dave and Griffin handled the shit part of it.
The poop part.
Pardon my French.
So yeah, Becky worked in the Neilsville ER for 5 months, and then we said our goodbyes to everybody, friends and family. We had a little friends and family party at Becky's parents' house, and then we packed up and headed to New Mexico. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe down below, as they say. We also have a Facebook page, Hunsickers on the Road, on Facebook, and then we also have Instagram. if you want to see pictures of kind of like our day-to-day things that we do, and that's Hunsickers on the Road as well at Instagram. And we'll leave the links below in the comments section. If you have any questions for us, leave comments if you can comment. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video and can't wait to see you for the next one.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, but only have so much videotape. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome to Hunsickers on the Road. In this episode, we're going to talk and discuss and show you some wonderful videos. I'm looking at the other camera. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. What else did we do? That's about it.
We ate a lot of pizza.
No.
Pizza and poppers.
Yeah.
Are we going to go get some toys?
There she comes. Here's the criminal. There's the criminal. Oh, the criminal. Cooper, you're gonna have to move, buddy.
Those fingerprints of all of your...
Cooper, move. Criminal.
Those
There's the criminal.
Are those fingerprints of all of your fingers?
He didn't want me to take a picture. I don't know why. Get off of here, Cooper.
Cooper, off.
You've changed.
Cooper,
Becky.
come. Cooper.
Uh-oh. It's what jail does to a person. Changes you. Makes you harder inside
Cooper, come.
and out.
So what else do we need to talk about?
Your beard.
And how beautiful it is.
Dave just recently purchased his first beard straightener.
Oh, it's for a later video.
So if that's something that you would like information on or you're interested in seeing, comments below. And I'm sure he'd be happy to make you a video all about the beard. It's not awkward at all.
So, what else? Bye.
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 See you.
Peace.
Peace. Bye guys, thanks.